The writings I did were mainly for ITV1, Radio 4. Sometimes I went abroad, but mostly it was subjects of our life, often with poorer, offbeat places, and I never made much money, portraying the underbellies of normalness, the small things, the working class. I'm not sure anyone does that on the media, what I did. Not now.
Ray Gosling in today's society is a relatively unknown character despite his extensive work for the media. His work as an English broadcaster, journalist, author and gay rights activist seems to span 50 years. His work seems to permeate through the Nottingham social scene from his down-to-earth attitude on reporting. As a group, we've got together to experience his archive and learn a bit more about an important character in Nottingham's history.
He was very verbose. He would try to shock people with some of his opening gambits.
Well, complicated character, yeah. He had so many different aspects. He sort of had to manage that as well, his own personal life, as well as going away and doing all these really intensive things for the BBC.
You can't describe Ray Gosling in one word. It was complex, contradictory, and a very, very nice human being.
I'm in room 218 of the Mary and Evans building of the Clifton campus of Nottingham Trent University. This is the site of a very special archive that was donated to Nottingham Trent so that the work could be appreciated. This archive holds thousands of items of work from Nottingham loving broadcaster Ray Gosling.
Nottingham is Queen of the Midlands, a pomp about the place. The art and tech looking like the Palace of Culture the Russians built for the Poles in Warsaw. And that's some centre is Slab Square. In area, in space, none of your clock tower nonsense. Sheer northern rawness. Big, pompous. It was the true heart of the city.
Now what I've got in my hand here is a catalogue of all these thousands of items. It includes hundreds of notebooks, folders containing scripts, pre-production planning, letters, personal items, all things that contributed towards the life and work of Ray.
The archives were donated to Nottingham Trent University and they started to be sorted out by Colin Hayes and Ray's sister.
Archives can be so different from archive to archive, but you will receive these papers, whatever else they might be. There's all sorts of things in here as well as papers. There's sort of food wrappers and train sets and you name it, it's in here.
It's a social history from the 60s, late 50s even, all the way through to the 2010s.
The thing I love about the archives the most, which you'll never understand unless you visit them, is in the files he didn't have like numbers and a very logical order. He described people in terms of nice man, funny laugh, dogs always barking. And that's the beauty of the archives. You realise the way that he viewed people through his notes.
He would walk around with a notebook, and whenever you saw him and whenever you said something that amused him, he would get his pen out and he'd write it down. So and he kept everything. He kept all these notes. He kept all these words, and they're so lyrical. Some of the words that were never broadcast. Some of his sort of outlines of scripts, and I think being able to see some of that writing, which has not seen the light of day, is really important, as well as looking back at his recordings.
From looking through the archive, I managed to find a few bits of information surrounding Ray Gosling, and here's a project called Battle of the Slums, which is something surrounding St Anne's and the area, and here I found the Housing Association of St Anne's residents, and it kind of gives you the sense and understanding of how Ray was really there for the St Anne's community and the Nottingham community, and how helpful he actually was.
Home's the other side. The East Midlands is my country. Leicester and Nottingham, the two towns I've grown around, that I've got mad about, that I go home to.
Ray was an absolute hoarder. He saved everything. And I think that's such a beautiful process to see what was involved.
People were just coming and chucking all these fantastic papers and things into a skip. And then John Goodridge from Trent University heard about this and he came over with a van and his brother, and they collected it all and they stored it at Trent University.
There's so much material here that's going to be of interest to people. Obviously, Ray was a very popular character, very well known by a lot of people for his broadcasting, and there are lots of documents relating to the TV and radio programmes that he's made, so there's a lot of interesting stuff there. There's also stuff relating to the campaigning he did in the St Anne's area of Nottingham, so you have a lot of kind of the Residents Association material, a lot of stuff about St Anne's that's going to be of interest to people, as well as things like the gay campaigning.
Many of the people within the interviews knew Ray Gosling personally and all have their own individual story to share.
When I interviewed him, and the interview lasted 3 years, because that's just the way it is with Ray, he would always be turning it round. He'd start interviewing me. So I'd sit down and say, "Hi Ray, what have you been doing today?" "Well, I've been doing this." "What about you? Where did you get that jacket from?" "It's a brown cliched university lecturer's jacket. What's the matter with you?" And you couldn't help but like him. It's just a complex, intriguing, just human being that just loved life. And I think that's what made his death so sad. You realise all the experience and life that he'd had is just gone. And I think that's why the archives are really important.
He would always tell you to look up at buildings, see what's up there that you don't know about, and just that phrase, "look up." He used it in films we did on sort of statues and sculptures, and whenever I'm going around a city centre now, I will look up and see what's up there, because there's lots up there you don't notice, but it's also a symbolic phrase as well, really, because you just have to just keep your eyes open. That phrase, "look up," really sums him up, and whenever I hear that used, I think of Ray.
What this archive achieves is incredibly important, as it keeps alive the unique, amazing character of Ray Gosling, and it also allows people like me to discover such interesting material. His work is not only important for social studies but Nottingham's cultural history. If you would like to discover anything like this for yourself, come down here and check out his archive, or even visit www.raygosling.org.
It was worth taking part in life fully, properly, with spirit, not just letting big people, authorities do whatever they wanted to do. You have to say no. That's what I mean by rebellion.